Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bible Study Minute. Today we're taking a look at 2 Kings chapter 17 and 18. And if we're honest, these chapters are a pretty hard read. And it's not because it's difficult to understand, but what we see here in the narrative just really hits hard. Because what we've seen is, after taking a look at all the prophets and seeing what their message was for Israel, which was repent, turn from your sin, stop serving idols, and return to the Lord and serve Him, and walk in obedience to the covenant that you made with Him, we see that God is finally putting down His hand of discipline for Israel. And we see this by Him having the Assyrians come in, and after a 3-year siege, takes them captive, exports them to the land of Assyria, and then brings in foreigners into the land of Israel. And then we get a clear description of why this is happening. And it happened because Israel disobeyed God. They walked in sin. They chose to serve idols. They chose to ignore the voice of the prophets. And they chose to dug in their heels and disregard the covenant that their ancestors had made at Sinai. And even if we look at the book of Deuteronomy in chapter 28, we see that there were blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. Well, this is one of the curses that was talked about in Deuteronomy chapter 28. And this is what we see happening here. And then we get to chapter 18 of 2 Kings, where we see King Hezekiah coming onto the scene, who is a king who relied on the Lord and walked in His ways. And we're going to learn more about how he does this in the following chapters as we look at that later this week. But we just see someone who walks in stark contrast to the people of Israel who were taken captive by Assyria. But what's the takeaway for us? It's ultimately that God is serious about sin. He gave Israel lots of grace and opportunities to repent and turn back to Him, but they chose not to. And ultimately, God is going to bring down His hand of discipline, whether that means bringing discipline in our lives or even ending our lives. So my plea to you today is to look at this chapter and see it as a call to repent in your own life. If there is sin in your life that's driving you away from the Lord, let it turn you back to Him so that you don't end up in the same situation that the Israelites faced when they were taken captive by Assyria. So that's what I have for today. Until next time, grace and peace.